Good morning, friends. I have a different friend with me today. Tadpole's off doing his own thing, and this is Savannah. Some of you have heard me talk about Triceratops. She's hanging out with me today because her brother had to go to the doctor. He's not sick, he just had to have a checkup. So she is hanging out with me for a little bit because her mom needed a babysitter. So she's just chilling, hanging out, supposed to be taking a nap. As you can see, not taking a nap. So today's word of the day is abdomen. And your abdomen is your part of your body that is between your chest and your hips. And it's the part that holds your stomach. So if we push Savannah up a little bit here, you can kind of see her abdomen is from here. Oh, my hands can cover her whole abdomen. It's where your tummy is. She's looking at the TV, trying to steal my stuff. Okay, so remember we have our last two chapters, Caterflies and Ice, and we'll see what's going to happen to see what happens. Chapter 13, It's Time. Sassafras and I laughed as we ran through the green grass in our yard. The sun shone down on our faces, and the caterflies flitted happily through the warm spring air while we played another game of tag. The caterflies were really fast, so it wasn't a fair game. They always won, but we enjoyed it anyway. I flopped on the ground to catch my breath, and Sassafras jumped on my stomach. A pile of giggling caterflies soon joined him. I closed my eyes and smiled as the sun warmed my face. When Sassafras let out meow. What is it, buddy? I asked, ruffling his fur. I peeked with one eye and saw my mom coming over. She had a bucket and her gardening clothes on. I propped myself up on my elbows. It's time, she said. I knew this was coming. Are you sure they can't stay a little bit longer? I whined. Look, here comes Tadpole. He's going to lick Savannah. Tadpole, knock it off. No licking. He wanted to say hello today. Sorry, all you saw was his butt. We need to replant the catnip plants. They're getting too big for their pots. Plus, the caterfly eggs are due to hatch any day now. You don't want the caterpillars growing up inside a greenhouse, do you? Not when they see that they could grow not when they could grow up seeing this beautiful sky every day. Mom lifted her arms out, tilted her head back, and smiled with her eyes closed toward the sun. She had a point. It was beautiful out here. You can still visit them, you know, she added. I sighed and hauled myself up. The caterflies fluttered around my head. It's time, they chirped. They were so excited, I tried my best to be happy for them as I followed my mom back to the greenhouse. Savannah is off to chase Tadpole. Hopefully she does not destroy my house. After we filled the wagon with supplies, I ran into the house and grabbed my backpack with my camera and science journal. I couldn't keep the caterflies, but here's a picture, could at least take a photo of them. I led the way to the catnip field, and Sassafras trotted behind, carrying a load of happy caterflies on his fur. Poor Sassafras would be lonely without those caterfly cuddles. You dig up the dead plants and the good bit of soil around them as well, Mom instructed. All the thawing snow and rain we had a few weeks ago helped flush out most of the salt, but it's best to be safe. I'll add some fresh soil around each of the catnip plants. Mom nodded her head toward the huge bag of potting soil we'd hauled in the wagon. We worked and worked, and I patted the soil around the last baby catnip plant and sat down to admire our work. Don't you think Sassafras is doing a good job of not drooling on the catnip? I asked. I looked around for Sassafras. Wait, where is Sassafras? Mom and I scanned the area and found Sassafras sitting completely still in front of a new plant. What is he doing? I asked. As I got closer to investigate, I saw that he was cross-eyed, staring at his nose. I almost fell over laughing. Smack in the middle of Sassafras's nose was a tiny purring caterpillar. It was kneading his nose with its tiny caterpillar legs. They hatch! I exclaimed to my mom. She rushed over and laughed when she saw poor Sassafras frozen in place. Wait! I exclaimed, and my mom stopped in her tracks. I rummaged through my backpack. Ta-da! My camera. This would be a perfect photo. I had to hold my breath so the camera wouldn't stop shaking from my giggles. I took the photo and then coaxed the baby caterpillar onto my finger. Sassafras let out a sigh of relief once his nose was caterpillar free. He's so tiny, I cooed. I rubbed his furry back and he purred. Oh my gosh, he's so cute. I let Mom have a turn holding him after we set him on a catnip leaf. We watched in awe as he gobbled one leaf, then another, and another. Wow, they really eat a lot, don't they? I asked Mom. Yep, it's a good thing we had a greenhouse to get the new catnip plants growing quickly. There she is taking a picture. And there's the baby caterpillar eating. Stop licking her. Sorry, he's licking Savannah to death. He cannot keep his tongue to himself. How can he fit so much food in that little body? I muttered as I squinted down at him. Ah, he can't. So he'll shed his skin several times, and each time he'll get remarkably bigger, just like a regular caterpillar. And mayfly nymphs? I asked. My mind wandered back to the mer horses we'd helped last summer. We needed to visit them now that the weather was warming up. Yes, just like the mayfly nymphs. I shivered. I'm glad I just grow. Shedding my skin to get bigger would be super gross. Mom laughed. Well, then it's a good thing you aren't an insect. Once they're big enough, the caterpillars will form chrysalises and their body parts will reorganize inside to form caterflies. I made a face. Reorganizing body parts? Ew. All that talk about shedding skin and whatnot has probably made you hungry. Mom winked at me mischievously. Let's get cleaned up for dinner. We said a quick goodbye to the caterflies, who fluttered around the baby caterpillars to make sure that they were safe and well fed. Sassafras looked longingly back at the caterflies and the catnip, and then joined us on the path to home. So there they are walking home. Chapter 14. A knock? Sassafras watched me check on my baby African violet plants at the dining room table from the safety of my lap. I carefully brushed the soil away from the leaf stem. I planted in the dirt and lifted the leaf out. Yes, I could see tiny little nubs starting to grow at the bottom of each stem. I dangled the leaf in front of Sassafras's face. Look, baby roots! My friends are going to freak out when I show them that I made a leaf grow into a new plant. Sassafras blinked in agreement, then whipped his head to the side and pointed his ears toward the kitchen. Meow! Do you hear something, Sass? I strained my ears. I didn't hear anything. Sassafras leaped out of my lap and ran for the back door. I followed, still straining to hear any noise. Sassafras meowed impatiently and stretched his front legs up on the doorknob. Maybe someday you'll be able to open doors, but for now, how about I help you? I grinned at him and twisted the doorknob. On the doorstep was a bundle of catnip with a teeny tiny note attached. I picked it up to take a look. A big smile spread across my face. I believe these are for you, Sassafras, I said, bending down. Sassafras took a step toward the catnip. Meow, he looked up at me. Yes, go ahead. It's yours. I waved him on. He dissolved into a writhing, purring, drooling mess of happiness. I looked again at the miniature note and saw a tiny paw print. That was sweet of the caterflies. I couldn't believe they had so much catnip to spare. Unless... Sassafras, I shouted. He looked up at me. Some drool and crumpled catnip leaves were smeared down on the side of his face. The caterpillars! They must have made their chrysalises. That's why they don't need the catnip anymore. We've got to go see them. Meow! Sassafras cried and pawed at a pile of wet catnip. Okay, 2 more minutes. Then I really want to go see. I looked at the note one more time and realized I should add it to my science journal before it got lost. It was just too cute. Get it really close so you can see that they wrote to Sassafras on there. I went to my room and glued it next to my entry on caterflies across from the silly photo of Sassafras with a tiny caterpillar on his nose. I leaned in close to the photo and could barely make out the faint purrs of the caterpillar. I couldn't wait to see the chrysalises they'd made. I leaped up and rushed past my desk. The whoosh of air flipped my journal open to a new page. A blank page, just waiting for whatever creature we would help next. What a good ending to that story. It made me super happy to know that they helped the caterflies and that the baby caterpillars have made their chrysalises and they are off to see them as adult caterflies once they come out of their chrysalis. Kind of like how you had butterflies in kindergarten. So I don't know if I started with this. It is Wednesday. It is May 6th. The sun is out and shining, and it is supposed to be a warmer day today and then get cooler. This weekend is Mother's Day, and we'll talk a little bit more about that on Friday and what you could do for your mom or grandma or aunt or anyone special to you that is like a mom to you. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Enjoy the sun. I've got the door open today, letting the sun come in. I'm going to hang out over here with my friend Savannah while we wait for her mom and brother to come back from the doctor's office. Have a great day. Love and hugs to everybody.